Hey guys, welcome back. It's Chef Andy, the only chef on YouTube serving up good gameplay, coming back again with another Minecraft video. And today, we're going to learn how to do a drowned farm. Guys, you're going to love it. I'm going to show you step by step how to do stuff that I did. I'm not going to go too in depth on it though, like hours and hours and hours were spent making this farm, okay? It's not easy to do. It goes up to build height because of the mechanics of the game, right? And I'm gonna take you through it. So sit back, relax, and take notes, right? If you follow along with the build at home and you want to do this in your world, then feel free to rewind and pause the video as many times as you want. Alright, let's crack on with the farm, guys. Let's get it. Let's get going, right? Let's do this. It sucked. Alright, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get our hands on some materials. I'm using glass because it's not spawnable. You could use leaf blocks or whatever you feel like, as long as it's not spawnable. The idea here is to not create spawnable spaces while making the farm. You want a controlled environment, right? Oh, and you're going to need a lot of fence gates too, because we're working with water. We want to stop the water from falling, right? We're making a drowned farm, so it has to have water. Drowns only spawn in water. And the whole premise behind this farm, right, is we're making a controlled drowned farm. And the control for us is going to be whether the water is present or not present in the biome. Because if you didn't know already, drowns farm in river biomes above Y level, whatever it is. It's like 5 below sea level that they start to spawn in the ocean. So we're going to have them up in the sky. We're going to be at AFK at Y level 128. We're going to build all the way up to 256, which is build height limit. Right, so we marked out our farm ahead of time. We lit up the river around us because we're going to make things dark. This farm will be very labor intensive, and we're going to have a roof. So you want to pillar up 2 whole stacks of scaffolding, which is exactly 128 blocks, which is exactly how high you want to be off the ground for your AFK platform. Look at that. All right. And guys, I think I'm coming down with a little bit of a cold. Been very congested lately. I got runny nose, congestion, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, once you get up to this level, Y level 191, which is 128 above sea level here. Sea level is considered 63. Right, you're going to want to count your block spaces for your farm. But first, just build yourself a little platform by placing blocks off the side of your scaffolding. Guys, scaffolding is a really cool new block. They added it in 1.14. It's amazing. You use bamboo and string, and you make this super helpful block. It's really great for going up and down, but for going side to side, they kind of, I don't know, made it feel like a lackluster block when it comes to going side to side. Like, it needs support under it, otherwise it doesn't do anything. So you might as well, if you're going to go for scaffolding sideways, especially when you're working at height, you're going to want to use a different block, right? Anyway, we ended up counting out, we have an 11 by 11 farm. So basically, we're just going to place blocks until we get to that 11th block and then turn the corner. Yep, there we go. You guys all know how to place blocks. You hold shift, you keep moving, and then you right click. If you're not holding shift, you will fall off these blocks, right? And here I decided I'm going to use colored glass for my corner bits to kind of know where the the borders of my spawnable area are, because we're going to be working above this layer too, guys. You're gonna want to be aware of where your spawnable spaces are. Right, so we ended up having to go get more glass, right? And we had some colored glass, and we got a bunch of sand. We could smelt sand, but I'd rather trade villagers, right? You can hear Grunkle Stan moaning from this area too, by the way. But yeah, we're going to trade these villagers for glass. This is one of my new zombie villagers. He's got some really good trades. Or not zombie villagers, but a cured villager. This one is a new cured villager. He's got Mending for 1 book, Thorns 3, and Blast Protection 4 for cheap. It's not bad. Anyway, you can make the glass that you trade any color you want. But I chose to keep it with clear. Right, so continue to build your platform. And once you have your AFK platform complete, this is going to be the area where you spend most of your time in the farm. So you're going to want to make sure it's a non-spawnable space. Yes, and let's break all that scaffolding, shall we? This part was pretty satisfying and fun to do. But then really annoying because it didn't all fall in the same location. But to be sure you have it, all of it, just count how many pieces you have. I had 2 stacks. I had 2 stacks. Alright, so then you're going to want a lot of slabs. And you're going to want to pillar up about 24 blocks and start making another non-spawnable platform. Right? And then 2 blocks above that, place a fence gate. And then off of that fence gate, you're going to want to place one of your bottom slabs, guys. It's very important you use bottom slabs because it's the bottom slabs that don't spawn. Right, so you build your bottom slabs on top of that, and that'll give you your border around your fence gates. Go all the way around your spawnable space with fence gates and that border around the top of the fence gates. And that'll stop your water from flowing when it reaches that level. Right. So now that you've got that all done, we're going to go knock out this scaffolding real quick. And then you're going to want to pillar up all the way to Y level 254. And place yourself a bottom slab on top of that. And if you pillar up directly above the outer edge of where the water goes, like I did, you can go ahead and just make your perimeter all the way around. And inside the middle here, this is the spawnable spaces again. You want to make sure that you don't fill those parts in. Not yet anyway, because we got some redstone stuff to do up here. Right. So down there, that's where everything's going to be spawning in the water. So what we want to do is you want to come in a couple blocks. 2 blocks in from both corners, right? Or both edges of the corner. 2 blocks in both directions. You want to zigzag going back and forth. You're going to want to come down from underneath and place an upside down dispenser. A downwards facing dispenser. Now, working with scaffolding can be pretty tricky, right? Because you can't hold shift while you're in the column, or you just descend. Alright, and every other block here is going to be bottom slab, downwards facing dispenser. Now, you could use scaffolding to get out this far and place some, but again, here's why scaffolding sucks. You place a block, it falls. And you can place blocks ahead from the top, but you can only go so far with this before you get lost or confused. You're like, where's the next one go? Or, oh, I can't place anything until I do a downwards facing dispenser. So, apparently, also that rain that was happening was a thunderstorm, even though it didn't thunder one time. Right, so back up here, it's just become difficult to work around here, right? Well, my recommendation is you go down a little bit, you place yourself another bottom slab right below that area, right? This gives you something to stand on and crouch. So just use that bottom slab and just kind of make yourself a scaffolding. And go ahead and place in all your downwards facing dispensers. There's going to be 41 of them in this size that I have an 11 by 11. So it's basically just a repeating pattern. Right, so once you're done with those dispensers, go ahead and take out your temporary scaffolding, or aka bottom slabs, and you should have something that looks like this. You want a one wide gap between all your downwards facing dispensers and your spawnable area. Just bear that in mind. Right, get a bunch of redstone and repeaters out, and let's wire these things up. So we're going to have our input come in from this side, and then we're going to go along this way with redstone dust. I believe this is like 11 or 13 spaces. Redstone will travel up to 15 spaces, so it's not that big a deal. Right, and then in between all your dispensers, well, you're going to want to put dust on top of all your dispensers. And in between the first row of dispensers, you want to put a row of repeaters. This will ensure that your signal gets boosted another 15 blocks in the direction of your repeaters. Now, behind all those repeaters, you're going to want to put top slabs on top of your bottom slabs, creating a full block. And you can go all the way to the end. I wasn't sure at this point in time, so I didn't place an end one. But you want to go all the way to the end and do that space right there. Because if you don't, you won't get a signal at the very end. And then go ahead and, like I said, put dust on top of every single dispenser. Make sure you hold crouch while you do this, or you're just going to open the inventory repeatedly. Right. So that took a whole stack of redstone dust. And then we need 4 more dust. But that's no problem. I got plenty. So once you have all of your dust on top of all of your dispensers, and you have all of your slabs in with your repeaters facing in the right direction, go ahead and build yourself 41 buckets, right? Which is 2 stacks of 16 plus 9. That'll give you 41. Then find a water source like the ocean and fill all your buckets. Remember, you're not going to be able to carry all those buckets in one trip. But if you don't feel like carrying food or rockets, you can carry a few extra buckets. Alright, place in the last of your fence gates. Open all your fence gates. And then come out off of your AFK platform a couple blocks and place a soul sand. And then give yourself some room to work with. Make a little platform. Go ahead and place a sideways facing dispenser right above that soul sand. This is going to come into play later when creating this toggle. Now make a giant pillar of glass here, or whatever block you want to use, with an observer facing down with dust on top. And I chose to put a repeater coming out of there just in case. Right, so when you get that done, you're going to have a dispenser above soul sand, a column, with an observer facing down. Right, now go and get some ice. You're going to need about a stack of ice. If you have a friend on the server who has a bunch of ice like I do, you can buy it from him or use his farm, whatever. But if you're playing by yourself, just go find a biome that has ice and get some ice. Make sure to use Silk Touch. Right, so now what you want to do is you want to fill this thing with ice, source blocks. Because we're making a bubble column. But it's not just any old bubble column. It's one that we can turn on and off using a dispenser to remove and replace the source at the bottom. This will send a signal up and down to that observer, allowing the observer to pulse every time the bubble column changes its state, thus sending a pulse to our dispensers every time we change the column, right? And remember, when you place a block in front of the observer, it's going to pour all your water out. When you remove a block, it'll pour all your water out. And also, when you break ice, you need a block below it or it doesn't create a source. So here, I place the block, the water comes down. Then I change the block into water, now that I have water below it, and it becomes a source block. And the water, again, turns off from the dispensers. Now, make sure when you do this inside your column, you either come out to breathe every once in a while or have a respiration helmet like I do. And if you don't waste your time in the tube like I did, you will have plenty of air by the time you reach the bottom. Like I said, this is maybe like 64 blocks, 63 blocks or so of ice. It's not really too much. And make sure you break the ice without using silk so that it turns into water. One thing is, though, when you get to the bottom, if you don't have an ice block placed in at the bottom underneath, you will have the issue that I had. And that one didn't create a source. The last block that I broke there did not create a source block. And I didn't realize it till it was too late. So I put in another source block there, and it started to function. No problem. And as you can see, we turned off the water, and it takes a bit for it to come down, but it does turn off. And it does turn on using that dispenser trick. Find a turtle, get an egg from the turtle. Build a little room off the side of where your drowned zombies are going to fall to. Build an idiot trap by cutting a 2-wide gap and placing trapdoors facing each other. Place hoppers right underneath those 2 openings, right? Put some slabs down on top of those hoppers. Place a chest. Build a kill chamber. Trap in all the drowned. Make sure you make a wall, right? Because sometimes they might walk off the edge and try to get you. Place your turtle egg. Make a pillar of glass going right the way up underneath your turtle egg trap. You don't want them coming down on top of your head, like I said. All right. Come out 15 blocks on each edge and make sure you fill in the diagonal gaps on the layer, the very top layer where we have our redstone. Fill in all these gaps. It's going to take you a while, so put on some music and just zone out. And make sure you have plenty of bottom slabs. Because this took me like 8 or 9 or 15 stacks. I can't remember. There's a lot of bottom slabs involved. And make sure they're bottom slabs so that nothing spawns on top of them. Now, underneath our farm is completely black. So, To avoid drown spawning in our bubble column, I placed glowstone about 5 or 6 blocks away. I think it was 5 blocks away. So the light level inside the bubble column is 8, but any block further away from the bubble column than that is 7. This prevented drowns from spawning in my bubble column controller. That was the big issue, is I was getting drowns spawning in the column while I was testing the farm, and that would take away the mob cap. But anyway, guys, there you have it. That's the drown farm I made. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to me, Chef Andy. Bye-bye. Schlitz bites.